once you have your submission period over, you'll be jurying your call with various jury users. I'll look at a couple of these settings inside of the jury settings next. Now, the jury end date is the date at which you notify your users that the jury process is complete, and they will receive notification as to whether they made it through or didn't make it through. So that's kind of how this date can be used. It can be used in combination with those submission emails. These next two settings actually change the way the jury process works. So I'll look at each one of these individually. So first off, I'm going to untoggle both of these and update the jury settings. Now, this first setting here says show juror voting history. What this means is that if you turn this on, let's say I have 3 jurors set up in my system and they're each doing their own jurying. If this is on, each jury user would be able to see the ratings and votes of the other jury members. So we discourage the use of this, as that can tend to lead to groupthink, where if I see a piece and then look what a juror already voted on it, I may be more influenced to rate around his rating. So you want to usually leave this off, and that basically makes it so that jurors cannot see the votes of other jurors. This next setting says hide user details from jurors. So occasionally you'll want the user information to be anonymous, so that when a juror is looking through the pieces, they don't know which user they belong to. And so this would hide first name, last name, and any of those user registration fields that you have set up for the jury. They would only be able to see submission details. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it off and show you what the juror would see. So I'm going to switch over here and log in as a juror user this time. I've already got one set up. So juror at ArtCall, and I'll just log in here. This is just a fictional user. And I've got a few submissions already entered into this call. And so this is the view that the juror would see. Now, when they log in, they see a listing of all the submissions, and the default view is they're on all pending submissions, meaning these are all the submissions that they have not voted on. As soon as a juror votes, it's removed from this section and it's placed inside of the all my voted submissions. So if I come into here, you can see I've already actually entered one rating. So I'm going to come up here into the pending section, and I'm going to vote on one of these to show you. So let's say a juror sees this first submission and they rate this at 3-star. They simply click the 3-star rating, and they can add a note in here. This has too much yellow. And they simply click submit jury rating. Now this note is only seen for the administrators can see this. And if you have that show jury rating or show jury setting turned on, other juror users would be able to see this as well. But the end users cannot see this note. So I'll go ahead and submit this jury rating. Notice that that one just disappeared. And if I move down into all my voted submissions, that's where that jury is right now. And I can change my jury vote at any time. Let's say I changed my mind and I feel like this is just right. I can come back later, rate this 5 stars, and say, I like it. And we'll update the jury rating. And now that jury's been changed to 5 stars. So jurors can change their ratings up until that jury time frame is over. Now, of course, here, these sections over here on the left are just to help you filter. So let's say maybe you have a juror that's only working in photography. He can click in the photography section and he'll only be presented with these list of entries that are flagged underneath the photography category. You can even drill down to subcategories. So let's say I'm in 3D design and I want to look just at ceramic. I can toggle down there and I'll see only the ceramic submissions, etc., etc. In the all voted submissions, you can also toggle down by category by using the simple drop down up here. If you want to see all of the submissions you voted on underneath 3D design, you just toggle that and it will show you. So I'm going to make a few votes here. So I'm just going to quickly just toggle these. I'll make this one 3, submit that one. Now, one thing to note is if I add a note without selecting a star, that counts as a 0 vote. So if I hit submit right here, I'm essentially saying that this is 0 out of 5 stars. So that's how it gets logged in the system. So I'm just vote away here for a second. On a few of these. Okay, so I voted on several of these. I still have some work to do, but I've voted quite a bit. Now I'm going to go back to the administration panel, and I'm going to turn on the show juror voting history so you can see how that works. I'm going to update that setting. We'll switch back here and refresh. And now you can see I have this column that shows me the average star rating and how many votes. So you can see all these have 1 vote. And then it also introduces this star over here to where if I click this star, it shows, looks like juror user, which is the name of this account, shows me the date they voted, shows me their note, and it shows me how many stars they added. So if you had 3 or 4 users that were all jurying your call, you would see all the entries for each jury inside of this jury history. So that's what that does. It enables jury users to see what other users are voting and kind of see the totals and tallies. I'm going to come over here and switch on that last setting here. Whoops, before I do that, I'll show you. Without that toggle set on, notice that if I click on the additional user details, I see their email address. I can see all of the details they entered when they submitted their entry right here. If I switch back over here and say hide user details and update that, I'll come back over here and refresh. And notice that that user details setting is gone. I cannot toggle on. I can't see the first name, emails. None of those additional user registration fields are shown. So this would be an anonymous jury because I can't see any of those data. If I come over here and switch that back off, so I'm not going to hide the details, come over here and refresh. You'll see it adds the first name. I can see the user first name. I can see the user last name. I can see all these extra details about their submissions. So that's what those 2 settings do inside of the jury panel.